有人數喺度。先各位申報大家嘅有冇利益衝突喺度？就我先申報，我係代表立法會喺 Council 同埋 Court 嘅葉樹時間係
港大學校務委員會委員。
勁啲嘅。好，咁我哋係申報咗啦，咁選主席啦，我理他。咁啦，陣間
我石議員做。
係有冇和議？
喂
I nominate Mr. Abraham Check. I second. Alan, can you be the chairman? Uncontested. I can't quite accept it because I'd like to see if there are other volunteers. Anyone? He has to leave by 9 as well. You as well? Well, I am biding time and to see if anyone else would come. We need to elect a chairman. We can't do without chairman. I declare already it's non-pecuniary. But then it clashes with my schedule. All right, anyway, I accept it. Please invite the administration and the Hong Kong U representatives.
Alan 係9點鐘。
Alan, you need to attend the Select Com meeting at 9. Is that right? Martin, 9 as well? So let me ask them walk you through the paper, and then you can be excused.
Hi, Professor. Please.
May I welcome the professors representing the Hong Kong U and the registrar. Some members have to leave by 9 o'clock, so I'd like to invite you to walk us through the paper today. Henry? Good morning, members. May I walk members through the paper to amend the statute. This is in relation to Statute Provision 3. Every time if we are to run the new MA programs, we need to amend these statutes. And there are 3 that we're proposing: Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, Master of Clinical Pharmacy, and Master of Expressive Arts Therapy. The amendment statute has gone through the proper procedure involving the Departments, Facilities, Senate, and Council. We've also consulted the Education Bureau and the law draftman. And the law draftman's comments on the statute have been incorporated as appropriate. So we have 3 colleagues related to these 3 programs attending the meeting. We have Professor Andrews, Dean of Faculty of Education, Professor Ian Wong, Head of Department of Pharmacology and Pharmacy, and Dr. Rainbow Ho, Associate Professor, Department of Social Work and Social Administration. So they would explain about their program and answer members' questions. Thank you. Mr. Yip, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Professor?
Of your master degrees.
Yes, if I can just briefly introduce them, the MA in TESOL. This is a new program which is a major initiative for us because it's the first time that we've actually run a program at master's level in collaboration with another faculty, and that's why it needed to be proposed as a brand new program. In previous years, over a number of years, we have developed under our Master of Education program a number of different specialisms, but in this case, because this is a program which we're offering in collaboration with another faculty, it needed to be proposed as a separate program, and so we've proposed this Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers Other Language, which we are running with the Centre for Applied English Studies in the Faculty of Arts, and it represented for us an opportunity to work with another area of the university which has complementary expertise in the area of English as a second and foreign language. It's a program which specifically targets full-time students. Our Master in Education program started as a UGC-funded program entirely for part-time students. Then, as it's gone through the transformation from mixed mode to self-funded, we've also admitted full-time students onto that program. But this MA program is a new program. It's entirely full-time, and it's intended to target students from outside Hong Kong. One of the reasons for that is that we see our mission as being to serve continuing professional development, not just within the Hong Kong context, but more widely. And also we want to try and bring more international or non-Hong Kong students into our faculty, because our undergraduate programs are very, very locally focused, and it's one of our aims to try and enrich the overall diversity of the experience within our faculty by having more students from outside Hong Kong with us. So that was one of the prime motivations. And the programme very much fills a niche which our existing Master in Education programmes in relation to teaching English as a foreign language don't meet. So that was the rationale for the proposal of this programme.
Members. So perhaps you'll invite other professors of Hong Kong U to speak first before you ask questions. Dr. or Professor Wong, please. This Master of Clinical Pharmacy program is a new program. Well, please don't quote mix. It's either English or Chinese. Don't make it hard for the interpreters.
The clinical pharmacy program is a brand new program. As what we know, the medicine that we use nowadays getting more and more advanced and more expensive. So we need the expert in the medicine to help us to use the medicine better. And also the second problem that we are facing is the aging population. It's a worldwide problem. So indeed, because of this two problems, the healthcare profession, they need to progress further in the education of the medicine side of it, how to use medicine. And so the University of Hong Kong already set up the Bachelor of Pharmacy degree a few years ago. And so it's a lateral progression that we provide a Master of Clinical Pharmacy so that we can actually teach our pharmacists the advanced skills of how to use the medicine. And so the program is specifically only for the Hong Kong registered pharmacists. So no other people can be admitted to it without the Hong Kong registration as a pharmacist in Hong Kong. And it is only do it in part-time because, again, it's specifically to help the local pharmacists to upgrade their skills. And majority of our students are from HA. And also because it's the requirement for the HA for the junior pharmacists, what we call them the resident pharmacists, to be progressed into pharmacists, they have to have a master degree and preferably it would be in Master of Clinical Pharmacy. So we are basically helping the local community to upgrade their knowledge and to help them to provide the service to the local hospital, and including the HA and also the hospital in the private settings. It's fully self-funded by the student themselves. And so the program, we use a lot of practitioners that they have advanced practice, and so that they can actually transfer the skills to our students. And also we invite overseas professors and lecturers to give distant learning, and sometimes they actually fly here to actually transfer the skill. So this is the essence of the program.
That's it. Thank you.
Dr. Ho?
中文下。
I'll use Chinese. This Master of Expressive Arts Therapy is a new program. It is also the first such professional master program in Asia. It's a 2-year program for full-time students and 3-year for part-time students. This program is set up because as we serve people in society, we believe that language is not the only means of communication. Expressive arts is one of the possible means. And expressive arts therapy refers to the therapeutic functions of dancing, music, painting, and poetry, so as to address the problem of growth and other issues. And there are several features in this program. There is a demand in the market. We have a client group, for example, SEN students, autistic students, elderly, and people with mental illness. They may need a special way of communication, so to speak. So it is necessary to establish such a program in Hong Kong. And secondly, through running this program in Hong Kong, it can also facilitate Hong Kong use academic research, so that we have a clinical-based service. And thirdly, Hong Kong U is a cultural melting pot, and expressive arts therapy has a Western origin. And if we could add elements of Oriental culture and Chinese culture, we'll be in a better position to allow cultural exchange and help people in Hong Kong.
咁我哋問問題阿葉。
Mr. Yip, perhaps would you mind allowing the other 2 members to ask questions first, because they have to leave before 9? Mr. Yip, the floor is yours. I have a question on the programs. How many places are available in each program? And for these 3 programs, they are all of academic nature, but at the same time, they are a sort of professional training. And you aim to train certain skills under these programs. And would internships be involved? And would professional qualifications be involved? 3 questions. Henry, would you like to go first? Perhaps I will delegate to my colleagues. Professor Andrews.
The Honourable Yip's question.
Yes, it went in terms of the cohort size. The first cohort would be 30.
13.
Yes, and it's not intended that this should have any, certainly for the MAT SOL, it's not intended to be a professional qualification in any sense. I mean, there is no practicum attached to the program as yet. It's purely a knowledge-based program, so it's not a professional qualification in that sense at all.
Understand.
Professor Wong.
我哋第一個
In our first cohort, we have 19 students, and after that, we had 30. And as such, our capacity is around 20 to 30 students, and we need to make ward visits, and as such, we must set a limit on the number of student intake, or else we cannot facilitate those visits. At the same time, we will bring them to the Shenzhen Hospital of HKU so that they can see, they can experience the actual practice in China. So we have set a cap on the number of students. And in terms of professional qualifications, under the law of Hong Kong, we only have one recognized professional qualification for pharmacists, and that is registered pharmacists. For the hospital authority, pharmacists must obtain at least a bachelor's degree, or else they can only serve as registered pharmacists, which are at a lower level. And as such, a master's degree is very important to them. Dr. Ho, we have 23 students in the first cohort. This is a professional program, and as such, an internship is required. And the number of hours range from 500 to 750. It's mandatory for all students. And after the internship, our students can obtain a professional qualification under the International Expressive Arts Therapy Association. Any other questions, Mr. Yip? I wanted to ask a question, but I'm a little bit blank right now, so perhaps I need to undertake some sort of therapy. That's all for me. All right, Henry. Can you walk us through the proposed amendments by the law draftsman of the DOJ? The law draftsman basically amended or edited some of the formatting of our paper, and in terms of content, nothing was changed. I remember the question just now. For the Master of Clinical Pharmacy program, you mentioned that a master's degree is required before they can become registered pharmacists. Apart from this new program, do we already have similar master's programs so that students can become registered pharmacists in Hong Kong? Professor Wang. CUHK and HKU Space both provide master's programs in clinical pharmacy. But the basic design of our program is different from those two. We put an emphasis on actual practice or training in hospitals, and for the two other programs, they are basically taught programs. But for our program, our students have to discuss cases with our professors and experience the actual practice, and we make use a lot of modern technology. For example, our students can present their cases to us while at home. A lot of our students have full-time jobs, so we try to facilitate communication with them. And in UK, the first degree of pharmacists are usually a master's degree in pharmacy, and in America, the first degree is often a doctor's program, but in Hong Kong, the first degree is usually a bachelor's degree, so this type of programs is necessary.
Small question for Professor Andrews. Professor did mention that the program of the Master of Arts in Teaching English to speakers of other languages was catered for students from outside Hong Kong. I wonder if the professor could clarify for us how large is the catchment area meant to be? You are catching students from where?
Professor Andrews.
Thank you for the question. The first cohort of students are all from the mainland. We hope, and it's very much the aim, that it should be the whole of the region rather than from the mainland. One of the difficulties of achieving that goal is the cost of the programme. So one of the things that we're trying to do is set up a series of scholarships which will make it more accessible to students from other parts of the region. But at the moment, the first cohort is from the mainland.
Can you explain further that does this affect the resources that should have been given to the local university, and then you're spending this other money for the outside Hong Kong cohorts?
Well, I think it just reflects the challenge that we have for our to achieve the mission that we would like to achieve. I mean, certainly from my point of view as Dean of the Faculty, one of the things that I see as very much our mission is to aid capacity building in the region. That's something that I'm very, very committed to, but it's something that is very difficult to achieve because we have to charge a certain fee level for our self-funded programs, and so the only way we can actually realise that goal is to find other ways to support the study of students who are coming from backgrounds where they don't have the resources to pay the full fee, and so this is something that we're trying to set up through. I mean, we've already set up some donations to help support scholarship funds for students from the region more widely, but I think it's a challenge which we can't avoid with the way we have to charge for self-funded programs.
Yes, but then the question is, how does this fulfill the objective of an integration of local and overseas students to that extent? Because you're purely, as you said, purely that we have to, for this design for the non-Hong Kong students. But in terms of the wider purpose is to have a better understanding between Hong Kong and non-Hong Kong students.
Well, indeed. Well, in answer to that question, I mean, the students who come on this programme are simply part of one programme within a very, very large range of master's level programmes. So they become part of a community of students. I mean, we have nearly 400 master's students in our faculty who are a mixture of full-time and part-time, and the part-time ones are obviously all local. The full-time ones come from not just from the mainland, because we have been able through scholarships and so on to support people from other. So they form an integrated community of postgraduate students within the faculty.
So for this course, sorry, I just want to follow.
No, very useful, very helpful.
For this course, there is First Henry, that there is a 20% limitation for overseas students. Does this apply to this course, or or individual courses? That in the wider context, the 20% rule is always being within that rule.
It's for undergraduate only.
For undergraduate
and in Hong Kong, we have policy that we we use 10% for mainland students and 10% for overseas students. So that's our policy for undergraduate. There's no restriction for top postgraduate. But the basic principle is that it must be self-funded. We must not use UGC money for the self-funded program. So when they calculate the fees, we have been very careful about the self-funding principle. So in a way, we are not really using UGC resources for any TPG program.
黃議員，我幫你問咗你最中意問嘅問題，就係關於
Mr. Yip, I asked your favorite question on whether the resources of Hong Kong students would be compromised. Any other questions from Ellen?
Do I understand from the good professor that this program is exclusively for students from outside Hong Kong. So even if a local student is applying for admission to the Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages program, he or she would not be accepted. Is that the idea?
Professor Andrews.
Well, thank you. I probably should have set this in context. I mean, we already have within our faculty 2 Master of Education specialisms which are catering for the local needs. We have a Master of Education in English Language Education and a Master of Education in English Language Studies, and the latter of those is specifically related to fulfilling scholar requirements for helping serving teachers become subject knowledge trained. And the Centre for Applied English Studies, with whom we partner, they have a Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics, which is also serving the local needs. So we have already 3 existing programmes which fulfil different needs within the professional development of the local community. And one of the motivations for creating this programme was to try and clarify the differentiation of roles, so that if we had full-time students who wanted to study a master's in the area from outside Hong Kong, they could be directed towards the programme which would fit their needs rather than the other 3 which weren't specifically designed for them. So this really complements what we already offer for the professional development of the local community.
Thank you.
If I just follow, you really, Professor Andrews, you haven't really answered that question completely yet. The question is, if a Hong Kong student in search of knowledge wants to enter this course, are they being discriminated? knowledge have no boundary. But I mean, that's a prerequisite that they must be an overseas student.
Well, it's not a prerequisite. It's the way we market the programme. If a local student applies for that particular programme, we would advise them to have a look at the other programmes which we offer, which are more specifically designed for their needs, and encourage them to
their
apply.
Needs wouldn't be on their own choice rather than a needs to be directed. I mean, that's the purpose of education. But the question is very simple. If a Hong Kong student have a desire to join the course, will they be discriminated? I mean, this is the question, Alan. Is that?
Well, to answer, I don't think there is anything in the regulations regarding this programme which says that it is exclusively for non-Hong Kong citizens. I mean, it's simply that in the spirit of academic advising, which informs everything that we do within the university about helping students choose the right thing for them when they've entered the university, we do the same when people apply for programmes. I mean, even with Hong Kong students who apply for the different programmes that we offer, if a student applies for the Master of Education in English Language Education and we think that actually what they need to do is the Master of Education in English Language Studies because they need to fulfil the scholar requirements, we will strongly advise them to move their application to the other programme because it's designed for them. And in the same spirit, we would do the same for this programme. So it doesn't say not for Hong Kong not for Hong Kong citizens. It's simply that's who the programme is designed with a different target audience in mind.
Okay. Any other question?
Well, Chairman, as you know, I always defer to your wisdom. But for the record, as I understand from the good professor, the answer to my question is if a local student insists on applying to this program, he or she will be considered for the program.
Fairly.
Well, it goes without saying, Chairman. But what the good professor was telling us had been this, that this local student would be advised to look at other programs which would fit them more. But if they insist, despite the very good counsel and advice that they get from the good professor, he or she will be considered.
Right. Is that the correct interpretation of your answers?
I think that is a correct interpretation. I don't think it's been put to the test as yet, but I mean, I think that's a correct interpretation of my answer indeed. Yes.
Professor Andrews.
Next, Dr. Helena Wong. Thank you, Chairman, for helping me with asking the question just now. Well, I don't know, because you always ask a lot of questions, but I don't think we have finished asking all the questions. I want to know for the 3 master programs, they are all taught master programs, is that right? Or is it sort of a master of philosophy research program? Who would like to explain that first? I think it's been explained, taught master programs. All right, so they're not MPhil, not PhD, they're self-financed courses. Well, perhaps you'd like to put this on record, give an answer. So just now, well, I mean, I asked them whether they would be using local resources. Well, they said that these will be self-financed and that no UGC resources would be used. I heard that, but I don't think my concern has been addressed, because there are a lot of research master programs or PhD programs. Well, I don't want another meeting anyway, so go on with your question. These are not self-financed programs, and these MPhil programs are funded by NGC. Henry, is that right? For MPhil and PhD programs, the majority of them are funded by UGC. But we also have some self-funded or self-financed programs, but they're getting fewer and fewer, and it's subject to, the class size is subject to a cap. And I think members are concerned about non-local students, but this is fact. Local graduates are not keen to pursuing the research programs. And in fact, in the final year of their studies, our staff and our teaching staff would approach them, inviting local students to further their studies in research programs, but they're not very keen. And therefore, we have been enrolling non-local students in research programs as well. And in fact, over the past few years, we have done quite a lot in South Asian countries, in Pakistan and India. We encourage these students from these areas to come. And at the same time, we encourage local students and make our programs known to them. Well, their sentiment is that they believe there aren't many institutions in Hong Kong, and after they graduate from research or PhD programs, they might not be able to start a research career. But this is not true. They can pursue the career in some overseas institutions as well. So this is what we've been doing. We also encourage local students to pursue a research program. Instead of just making money in the private sector, they can in fact join the research program. I understand what you are referring to, because I am also a teaching staff in Polytechnic University. But I'm concerned about the use of public money. We need to be accountable to our society. I'm not against enrolling non-local students. I am just against the idea of providing the same level of subsidy for local as well as non-local students, because many local students don't even get a chance to study universities, because the government will not subsidize more undergraduate places, and yet the government provides subsidy to non-local students in master programs, and I think it's a matter of policy. Well, I did make some suggestions. For example, set a cap on the proportion of non-local students. I think it's standing at 70% or not. The government said no because of there aren't many applications. And my other suggestion is to recover costs. And you may need to consider providing scholarship to attract more students to come. Well, I think your suggestions can be followed up on at the panel on education. You can propose an item on the agenda for that panel, but this subcommittee is about the 3 additional Master of Arts program in Hong Kong U, and they've gone through the Council of Hong Kong U and the Senate. So perhaps we should focus on these 3 master programs. Mr. Yip Kin Yun, I wanted to respond to Mr. Alan Leung, but he's not here now. Anyway, for the Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, there are local characteristics as far as teaching is concerned. So one cannot be trained in one place and then teach in another place. So I understand the need to differentiate teaching English in different places. So I just want to respond to Mr. Alan Leung. He's not here. Anyway, I agree that it's a matter of choice for student admission. And I agree that there should not be screening. We need fairness, justice, impartiality. And if we're talking about Hong Kong U's program, barring the entry of local students, it's really hard to support that, although it's not using public money. Hong Kong U is funded by public money. It's using local land resources and other resources. But Professor already explained, and we accept that, because the students would be advised to some extent, but if they insist, their application be considered. Well, Chairman, I really appreciate the spirit of fairness, justice, and impartiality, and no screening. Well, that's another matter, right? Now, let's turn to another issue. For local students applying for these courses, I think we should consider one point. That student may wish to teach on the mainland. So if this is the student's aspiration to teach in another place other than Hong Kong, then his or her application should be considered. Yeah, to have global vision. All right, so if there are no other questions, we'll move on to the next part, and that is CB bracket 4 1088 1415 bracket 02. Let's go through this paper. Let's see if we could dispense with another meeting, if we could complete everything this time.
To LC paper CB4 1088/1415 to Henry. 有冇呢份文件啊？
Henry, do you have the paper? Yeah, would the staff please help? Because this is the University of Hong Kong Ordinance. It seems that there is a marked up version.
Henry 你有俾幾位？
No worries, Henry has it. What about other professors?
夠唔夠啊？
Do we have enough copies for the 3 professors?
The professor or doctor?
2 professors as well as Dr. Ho.
唔緊要，呢個我哋 OK， 我哋睇第一頁嗰度。
Let's read page 1. That's University of Hong Kong Ordinance. No amendment. Page 2. About different bachelor and master degree programs. And page 3, just an amendment on this page. This is a marked up copy. There is an addition. And on page 3, the addition is, as we mentioned, Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, Master of Clinical Pharmacy, and Master of expressive arts therapy. Just these 3 added. Any other questions? Just now we already heard an explanation on the 3 master programs, and this will be added into the statute. Any more questions? I'll give you my copy. Just read page 3 of the marked up copy. It should be in our papers. Nothing on page 1. I mean, no amendment on page 1. Page 1 is about bachelor and master degrees. Page 2 about master's degree. Page 3 also about master's degree programs. Only that under B, master programs, there are 3 additions. Nothing else? All right. Let's check the timetable. Members, we're referring to CB bracket 4108 1415 bracket 01. There is a timetable. Well, the council business is quite busy. So perhaps, subject to members' agreement, an oral report can be made to the House Committee this Friday. Any objections, Skip? No? Thank you. And then hopefully, the scrutiny period will expire on the 17th of June, and then the amendment will be tabled into the Council. Without extending the scrutiny period. So the scrutiny period will expire on the 17th of June. And then, using the same deadline, we will see if this can be put on the council business by way of negative vetting. Well, Professor, very often, it's not just you. Sometimes we code mix as well, Dr. Wong. Well, Chairman, you understand that the constitutional reform package will be tabled on the 17th of June. Well, Helena, this is negative vetting, so this is all right. I want to know whether this would be placed in the agenda before or after that proposal. We don't have any amendment, is that right? So it will be before the debate on constitutional reform, is that right? Otherwise, it would take at least 3 days. Well, it will be passed. We just don't want to drag things on.
先訂立後審議嘅附屬法例嚟嘅，已經訂立咗。如果到審議期完，即係而家講緊6月17號嗰日咧，議員冇修訂冇提修訂咧，咁就已經係訂立咗。咁就喺條例裏面講係咪7月10號啊，就會生效㗎啦。
唔係7月8號。
7月8號，對唔住，7月8號。
7月8號就係 OK 啊，咁就。
If we have no other issues, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for attending the meeting today.
A member here who should protect Hong Kong students is.
Thank you.
啱啊，飛雲。多謝 ，thank you。